this computer. Well, good morning. It's Saturday morning, July 13th, and I'm really excited to be here with everyone. We're in for a real treat today. We're going to review in the new Transformational System, Your Life book, and Dr. A's Habits of Health. We're going to review elements number 10
and 11.
Thanks, Deb. And the treat part of this is today's time together is going to be led by Dr. Deb Sesker. So, Deb, take it away.
Oh, thanks, Pat. And as we continue to progress through the Life book, I hope everybody's having the same experience with it that I am, that it is literally changing my world. I love what we have now in terms of the tools to really be able to support each other, support our clients, and really, have the right focus to move them forward and get them out of that diet mentality and into the transformational lifestyle. And I'm really excited about it. So let's just take a second to look at where we've come. We started with the introduction, so we wanted to really take a look and say, where am I? So we determined where we were, and then we stepped into, why does it matter where we're headed and what we want? And then we wanted to look at what was important and what we were wanting. Then we took a look at how we were going to get that, and then how our mindset was going to help support that. And then we took a look at our surroundings and how do we change our relationships with our surroundings, with people, places, and things to support this journey. And at that point, we kicked into the next section, which is really talking about our habits of healthy weight management. And so we stepped into some of the other elements there. I believe 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're really focusing on those, weight management elements and looking at how we can change our relationship with our surroundings and with those things. And here we are now continuing to grow through that, which, by the way, is Habits of Healthy Weight Management is part 2.1 in Dr. Anderson's book. And we will, continuing to work for 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and on. We're really focusing on that weight management, and hydration that we're going to be talking now in element 10 is in that section as well. So today we step into element 10 and 11. So let's first address element 10, the role of hydration in reaching a healthy weight. So now that we have a really good idea how to kick into fat burning, how to get that really taking place in our system, and how to make those healthy choices, now what do we want to couple that with in terms of our habitual pattern of behavior? And we're looking at the key role of hydration in healthy weight management. So anybody want to share today what they found element 10 mean to them? In the Life book, it started on page 202. It finished up on page 213. And did it resonate with anybody? Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about in terms of what this element meant to them? Pat, I see you reaching for the button.
Well, I wanted to give someone else a chance. I just love the end, and hydration. I've been a coach a while, and through my own transformation, and I learned the importance of it. But Dr. A just says it so eloquently in the end, how, in a way that I think if we are sharing with clients when they begin their journey, how important that hydration is to shift the metabolic machinery and the storage and into fat burn, and empty those fat cells. I mean, doesn't that sound exciting? When our clients get started, that's what they are wanting to do. Rev up my metabolism. Let's empty these fat cells. And so he says it so beautifully. To where, let's get rid of the toxins. People don't realize so many people in America walking. I mean, statistics show So many are not even getting half of 64 ounces. And so it's just amazing. I think if we can teach this, it's, the thought of that dirty water circulating in our bodies, it's like, oh, we don't want that. So I think it's a point, if we can share with clients from the very beginning, that it could really help them on their journey. So many people just say, oh, I don't like to drink water. Well, you know what? When you think of what's happening in your body, that may help you get rid of that thought. I don't like it. No, you don't like it, but what about if it's killing you on the inside, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And, really changing that focus, doesn't it matter? And making them aware. I mean, people are just like, well, I don't really like water. I drink other things. I'm good. But I think, and as he mentions here on page 205 too, where he talks about how water minimizes or eliminates fatigue, and our lack of energy and our headaches and the unclear thinking. And, I think I've really, even more recently, because I have been so intentional on increasing my water more recently, because I have to admit, it's never been one of those things I was that good at. And as I increased it consistently, what I notice is that the days that I don't, the next day, I can't think straight. And it's just like, wow, it really came to life to me that it's the water. If I have a little bit of trouble focusing, or just like, oh, or tired, I'm just like, I didn't get enough water yesterday. And so really being able to make that connection with people, and what I found with people too in the weight loss phase of the program is that if they aren't getting that water, they don't lose. That the body has to be satisfied and kept happy that you're not putting it into starvation mode, not only with the consistency in the food you eat, but also in the water and the hydration that you have. So most people don't think about that. And yeah, I think it's really great. Joanne, oh, you had unmuted. Would you like to offer something this morning? There you go. Joanne, you're up.
No.
Oh, well, then you can feel free to mute yourself again. Great. Okay. The other thing, was anybody surprised at the fact that coffee's not dehydrating? Pat, that surprised. And what did you think, Pat?
Well, because I've always heard, that it was dehydrating. And so, where did I hear that? I think, and it's like Dr. A said in the book, it's old research, I think back from the 20s, said, it was hydrating. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's actually good for you with high levels of antioxidants. It helps decrease depression, reduces risk of cancer, helps you live longer, slows down your decline in your cognitive ability. It boosts your mood. It increases your stamina, protects you against diabetes. That's all on page 208. And, coffee and tea are not diuretics. And it's just like, wow, there's a lot of bad information out there, isn't there?
Well, there is. I think we have to be cautious as to what are people putting into their coffee today. That's the thing. If you're drinking it black is one thing. If you're putting, 4 tablespoons of sweetened creamers and different things, we have to be cautious there that we're, taking something and changing it and making it something it's not. So just
right.
A word of caution.
Absolutely. And he even mentions that on page 210, where he talks about unhealthy hydration and some of the things you even think of. And he even mentions, which I found fascinating, almond, coconut, and flax milks, because we do have almond milk, as one of our, but I know you can get too much of a good thing when you overdo it. And if many of them are sweetened. So you have to address the unsweetened. So yeah, I mean, it was wonderful to see. The other thing I love is he points us to his to the iPhone, to our app on their phone, and to be able, are we using it? how do you guys feel about queuing water in a similar fashion as to how you queue your fuelings? Because we're fueling our life. And I've actually connected them. Every time my phone bings me for my fuelings every 2.5 to 3 hours, I'm also asking myself, where am I on my consumption of water? So does anybody have anything else or any other ways that they like to cue themselves? Because that cue is important. We learned that in another element. Pat.
Well, I'm, feel like I do drink. I have my water consumption under control most days. Today I slept in a little bit. And so all of a sudden I'm a little bit behind on my water. But I love the Habits of Health app. And because we started it in the beginning and it started at 2 cups a day, it has continually increased. And I'm up to 8 a day now, finally, because I know we all thought in the beginning, what's wrong with this? Something's not right. It's only 2. But we set the bar low. And as we continued, our set rate has lifted. So I'm at 8. So, and it's really just making me very conscious, just having the app, even though it's something I practice. I often have I'm almost always walking around with a cup. And, but you change your day a little bit and it's like, okay, I need to catch up on my water now. It's so important.
Yeah. Aren't the habits it's the consistency is so important. And, getting up at the same time every day is important. And you can see how it just sets you up into your routine and your body just loves that routine. So thank you for sharing that. And so to finish up on element 10, what we always want to make sure is that we understand, are we getting our 64 ounces in? Do we understand the importance of that? Do we seek any other excellent sources of hydration in addition to water? And, are we getting that in? Are we using our app? And if those things are happening and we're ready to move on, does anybody have anything else they'd like to add on this before we step in? You feel like you're comfortable and we can step into element 11. Anybody have anything else? Pat?
I did on this one check off tea. I've always liked tea, and of course I like coffee. I drink very little coffee. I drink it black when I do, and that's fine. But the tea, green tea, it's anti-inflammatory, and I thought that would change things up every now and then, not necessarily in the summer, but in the winter, a hot tea is good. And I thought I need to stock my pantry to have that alternative. When I look at the healthy hydration options, just reading this I thought, why not? And then also possibly with guests, when guests are around, it's like, I used to make sun tea in a jar for years ago. And I thought, I need to, why not? It would change things up.
Yeah. And one of the things that I like is the infused waters, to add some variety,
Right.
and to get a little bit of that, sparkle in the water. So is a great substitution, especially for, I like to recommend it to people for when they're going out in entertainment venues, to choose that in a special glass, a sparkling, water with a garnish of lime, so that they can, feel special, and everybody else is having an alcoholic beverage and they have just as beautiful of a glass with just as nice of an entertaining sparkle and a little fizz and a little garnish. So it's a nice substitute in those situations when you feel like, everybody's going to look at you because you're not joining in on the alcohol, but yet, you really can feel like you're being a part with something special that's not just your glass of water. Although
Right.
there's nothing wrong with having a glass of water either.
That's right. And, like in social events, often if you'll at least have something, people aren't trying to push drinks or something else on you. So I'll often do it. I'll take whatever I have in my, even when I entertain in my own home, in my own cup, and I'll put it in a wine glass as I serve wine to my guest. I don't drink alcohol. And so, but this way it's like, you're part of the group and nobody bugs you, especially if you're being entertained or in someone else's home professionally.
You'll have to excuse my dog. My husband's coming home and she's barking. Let me mute myself. Pat, why don't you let us the next element 11? Give us a title while I'm waiting for her to settle down.
Okay, element 11 starts on page 215, I think, 14 and 15. And the title is How Do You Eat Healthy Beyond Fuelings? And I really enjoyed this element as well. And I know Deb will do a great job. Again, it starts on page 214 and 15 in your life book.
Absolutely. Isn't that great how we can just roll with the punches? I love it. So did anyone, get to element 11? The nice thing we talked about too, as we prepared for this is, we could go straight to 10 and 11 and some of these and not have done the other sections, so that, if you feel like as we're going through the book here and, I'm behind, so I can't do that. Well, these stand alone, so that's really, really nice. But as we start looking at healthy eating beyond our fuelings, because I think a lot of people struggle. Do I have to do this forever? Well, what do you mean do this forever? If you mean, do you want to make small, frequent, well-balanced meals 5 to 6 times a day and healthy, these healthy choices that are going to fuel your life? You can if you want to. And if you want to throw in our healthy fuelings as a great snack, that's awesome. But what does it look like in terms of moving that forward into eating healthy beyond these fuelings? And so, I love how he goes into this, simply creating the charts and showing us, what it is that we need to do in each of these categories. And he said, we're removing all the unhealthy store-bought processed food from your diet. And we're now helping you make simple, healthy food choices. And I love that, because so many people talk about our fuelings as processed food. The problem with processed food is how it's processed, what's in it, how that's combined, how that's not serving you, and how it's manipulated in order to get you to crave rather than to fuel. And we're different, and although ours isn't apples that grows on trees, we are definitely, pulling those over-processed and unhealthy processed foods that we can consume and putting you now into the simple choices. And he really talks about, when you do go to the grocery store, the importance of, finding out where the fresh, healthy, and locally produced. I mean, I think that's something that we really need to think about, because when things get mass produced and shipped from all around the country or even out of the country, they have to come off the vine too soon. They're not totally, at their optimal harvest time, and they age off the vine instead of on. And so are we really getting what we need? And so probably not. And so what we want to do is ask. I mean, what a great conversation to start, to ask your local, grocery people, to make them know that you're very focused and on healthy habits and smart choices and supporting locally produced food. That's so cool. So he's just talking about, checking with them. Once you know where things are, and you get into a routine and shop that perimeter of the store and stay out of the middle, unless, you need frozen, right? So frozen would be second to fresh in terms of your choices. But, once you know where it is, you can, again, get into that routine of what you want, where it's at, what you need, and you can get through it fairly quickly. And he talks about how we're interested in lean protein, healthy fats and oils, our green vegetables and salads, healthy snacks, and our condiments. And do you love how he breaks it down and color codes it for us and puts it in the charts and makes it simple? What do y'all think about that? How do you feel like him breaking it down the way he has with the categories and the charts? How do you feel about how he does that for us? Anybody want to share? Looks like most everybody's exercising or, oh, Pat, hi.
Well, I just, it makes it so simple. Oh my gosh. And it wasn't until even that I went through the element that I realized it was all in the app as well. I had not, I didn't dig far enough, obviously, in my app to find that these charts are all in it. So if you're at the grocery store and you're in doubt, and especially clients, for us as coaches, it's great. But as we want to show our clients, hey, here's an easy way to shop, I love that. And I was just so excited when I learned it, just going through the element myself.
Yeah, doesn't he make it easy for us? People are like, where do I get a copy of that chart? Well, it's right.
Here it is, right under more.
It's right here.
I just hadn't looked under more and then resources. And there it is. What is a healthy meal? Click on it, and then it shows you all 5 and 1, 3 and 3, and then non-meal plan users. If people are using, and there they all were. Whoops, I don't know if you can see them, but amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Your app, and color coded and so simple. I mean, this is goof proof.
I know it's amazing. Talk about mindfulness. What he's thought about in terms of putting this together to literally have it in the palm of our hands. And then to ask us the questions. If you look at our, the coaching guide, to take people through element 11, of course he asks us, what does the element mean to us? And what does it give us the opportunity to reflect on? And what action are you going to take as a result of the element, which he asks us with all of them. But I love this. Are the choices you're making now sustainable in your everyday life? And he asked us earlier, one of the other elements, he said, it's got to be appealing. It's got to be simple. And it's got to be easily activated. And here he's just carrying out what he says, that's what we want. And so do you feel like the choices that you're making in terms of this whole food nutrition and how you optimize with putting in our fuelings that we have, are they sustainable in your everyday life? And what a great question to ask at this point. And if someone doesn't quite think so just yet, what could they do in order for these choices to become more habitual? And I think your relationship with the grocery store is a great start. When I go in, here's where I go. Here's are the things I choose from. What are those things look appealing to me today? Where's my reference of what, I want to look at until it becomes second nature? And pretty soon, just like riding a bike or driving a car, you're finding yourself on the same pathway, just like you drive to work, and you get there and it just was second nature. And all of a sudden, how'd I get here? Because I don't remember, because it's just natural. And the things that you put in front of your face to choose from and pick from, because you've got that routine of where you go in the store and you know what your choices are, and you've laid that groundwork and you can see what looks appealing to you right now. But because you've laid that groundwork and you do that repetitively, it will just become second nature. And, stay out of those areas that stimulate the wrong choices. Or as you reinforce the better choices, or the choices that are going to be healthier for you, the less those other things will become appealing. I mean, I walk to areas of the grocery store now and I just, I frequented those back in the day, and I go in there now and it kind of makes me a little sick to my stomach. And I feel so sorry for, the people that I see reaching and grabbing and pulling from there. It just saddens me a little bit, and I just look at it and go, oh, I'm so glad that, I look at that and it's not a desire. So I think as we reinforce that, the same way that we make our consistent choices every day, cueing ourselves, we need a cue. And the cue is, where do I go in the store and what am I looking for? And as we set those cues and we get more comfortable with those cues, and we form a relationship with our environment, which is the grocery store, and we change that relationship, and we surround ourselves with the things that we know we're going to have the good choices, just becomes more natural and more second nature, and it's where we start to establish our comfort zone. So I don't know, how does anybody feel about that? Does that resonate, or does that make you go, I don't do that? Pat?
Well, I think you're just hit the nail on the head. If it's a habit we can create. It's a new habit for many of us, but if we practice it, we'll create it. And I'd like to share from the very beginning. He talks about the importance of your lean and green. And most of you may know, I lost 70 pounds 13 years ago, but I would have been very happy just using fuelings at that time. And I really didn't quite understand why I couldn't. I really wanted to just give me the fuelings. Let's not mess with the lean and green. And I quit, and it was kind of in hindsight, and I share only in case you ever have clients that may say, why use the lean and green? Let me do the fuelings. But in hindsight, what I realized was the lean and green taught me portion sizes, different portion sizes. If I was having lean beef or poultry, chicken, fish, it had different serving sizes. It also taught me what vegetables were the low glycemic vegetables. And so that was the base for my healthy eating that now has, just become part of what I do. So portion sizes, as we know in this country, are out of whack. So our lean and green helps our clients there. But I think as coaches, if we can be aware of that and maybe help clients understand that, it's not just about having 5 fuelings and a lean and green, this is it. This is really establishing the baseline. And then later, here, 13 years later, in moderation, I can have anything I want. But my portion sizes are set. And I know which vegetables are the best for me. And of course, fruit sizes come in as you transition. And it's amazing the forethought that I think went into doing it. Just amazing. So just wanted
It is amazing. Yeah. And what a gift to have this resource.
Yeah.
So simply put, so attractive in its presentation, so easy to read, just a lot of wonderful choices, and just, really being just so supportive. Saved us a lot of time, energy, and work to do this, and we have absolutely everything we need. All we got to do is be repetitive enough in doing the activity that it becomes second nature.
Right.
And that's how we fuel our life. And it's just, the consistency here throughout. So, and to finish this up with 11, he said, what's working? What do you need to keep doing? And then, what adjustments do you need to make at this time? So again, he focuses on what's going well, what's missing, and what's the next step. And so what do you need to work on at this time to enhance what you're doing? Because we're always creating, right? And we can always revisit this. And again, as I notice, as I take my clients, or not my clients yet, well, they are my clients because they're my coaches that have the book. And so they're my clients too. But as I take them through these elements, each time I'm coaching someone through these, I'm reliving that element myself. And the power of that to go, oh yeah, I missed that the first time through. Or, oh yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Or, wow, how that's applied to you really awakens me. And to be able to have this as a reference and a resource to continually revisit, because it's put together so well. I mean, our opportunity as coaches to enhance our lives and constantly be fed by our interactions with this are amazing. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every time I go through it, and go through different elements with different people. So another advantage as you speak to your clients and you talk to people about the power of coaching, this is it. You get to relive this. It becomes not just something that you're trying to do to fix a problem, but it really becomes a way of life and becomes more and more real, more and more applicable, and just you're invested in every aspect of creating your health. And I can't wait to keep going on to the next elements. If anybody has anything else in there that they want to say, otherwise, Pat, you could set us up for what we're going to be doing next week. Does anybody have anything else before Pat tells us what we're going to be looking into coming up? Or have anything else to offer on these 10 and 11? I think we're good. Pat, what do we have?
Well, first I want to thank you, Deb, for leading us through this today. And I think these are two very important elements. They've all been amazing. Next week, we're going to go through elements 12 and 13. 12 is how do you eat healthy beyond fuelings? No, that's 11, sorry. Optimizing your success in reaching healthy weight. And then 13 is track your journey to a healthy weight and beyond. And it talks about daily, weekly, and monthly. So you want to join us. Again, these can be standalones. If you feel like you're not quite caught up, join us. It's going to be led by Cheryl Child next Saturday. It's our last Saturday before conference. We will take off the Saturday of conference. But when we finish 12 and 13 next week, we're halfway through our life book. So I'm excited about going into conference halfway through. Dr. A is encouraging all coaches. I know I got an email this week, and you probably did too, to be sure you have your system. God, I can't believe they want us to drag these with us, but maybe you want to bring one with you for him to sign. And I don't know, he's going to sign 10,000 books, but something, they have something planned, or they, I don't know. But we're excited. I want to again thank you, Deb. Thank you, and congratulations to all who showed up. And those of you watching the recording, I hope this has given you value as we prepare as coaches for our clients and our world to be introduced to your life book and our awesome transformational system. So thanks again, everybody. See you next week, and same time, same place. Bye now.
Bye-bye.